His Excellency Vasyl Myroshnychenko, Ambassador for Ukraine to Australia, thank you very much for joining us once again on Australia in Space TV here at the Robotics, Autonomy, AI and Cyber Conference. We appreciate you coming yesterday and giving a session, and also even speaking in Sydney last week at our Five Nations Partner Forum. And also you went to the IAC and you've been here at IPRAC here in Perth. So thank you so much. It's great to get to know you. Maybe some of your takeaways over the last couple of weeks and what you're seeing here in Australia.
Oh, look, I've been serving here for 3 years and a half. So every time I go to a conference on defense or space or anything related to that, I get a very warm welcome because I meet people who actually know what I'm talking about. They understand the issue, and they can also relate to my sense of urgency, which in my case, come from Russia's war in Ukraine. And I think people on the defense security circles in Australia also understand it. But the challenge we are facing is making sure the general public gets it, and also the government is taking necessary steps to get ready for anything, and also invest in the capabilities you need, use lessons learned from Ukraine, and capitalize on that. And
well, I was going to say, I think that's a challenge, right? Because here in Australia, do you get a sense that we are appreciative of what is actually happening in Europe right now? And there's obviously conflict in the Middle East as well, but here in Australia, trying to cut through that message here in Australia, I don't feel that we've got that sense of a war readiness here.
Look, Russia's war in Ukraine is the most consequential war in the world at the moment. There is no bigger war than that. And the reason is because Australia has a vested interest in making sure that Russia fails in Ukraine. Because Russia's failure in Ukraine is the best deterrent for Australia in the region. And Australia should do everything possible, making sure that Russia fails. That Russia fails militarily, that Russian sovereign assets are used for Ukraine, that Ukraine can sustain the war. And for us to sustain the war, we need Australia to continue supporting Ukraine. We are very grateful for what has been provided so far, especially the first 3 years. But we still need your military kit, we still need your humanitarian assistance, we still need your energy support. The war is large scale, and it's extremely costly, and we're the front lines out there, and you should treat us as your front line. We are first line of defense for Australia, not only for Europe, because while Europe is geographically next door, in terms of values, you are there as well.
Yeah, I definitely feel that meeting you as well, but the other aspect is the relevance to the conference here on robotics and autonomous systems is the learning that is actually happening in the war, and the relevance to Ukraine and for Australia's military and defence applications as well. And it is changing the landscape of international security in terms of the technology use. So even just following this interview, we've got a session on drones, and we covered a little bit on that yesterday as well. Yeah, just some of your observations that's actually happening and the relevance to advanced technologies.
No, 100%. We had to learn it through a hard way, right? And certainly a lot of that development was driven by war. But what we are currently able to do in the area of drones, we can deploy them, we can test them, we can lose them, but then we can redesign them and we can redeploy them. And we all do it very quickly, at scale and on budget. And this is something that Australian defense industry can either replicate or jointly with Ukraine invest into its own manufacturing and cater to the needs of Australia. Because both on the use of uncrewed system, but also on the counter, drone systems, we see that the innovation in Ukraine, which only one other country has it, which is Russia.
Yeah.
And Russia is sharing that with China, Russia is sharing that with North Korea, with Iran. You have an opportunity to learn, and you should use that opportunity. You should come and continue supporting Ukraine. You should see the value of that battlefield information which you can get for your tactical operational needs, but also for your defense industry. And I think Australian government has already started looking at into that. I'm not saying that you haven't been doing it, but I think that the development in robotics, drones, maritime drones in Ukraine is something which is very difficult for you to catch up. The reason is because we can battle test it immediately, and if it doesn't work, we just improve it, right? And for you can't really know what works because you have no war. So your defense industry in here, all the universities involved, all the startups and companies should be reaching out to me and reaching out to my government, reaching out to my people in the units and saying, here is a piece of equipment, try it and give us a feedback. And Australian government, I believe, should invest and support your companies in doing it, because I think that's the best way how you can try to build your own capabilities.
Well, I appreciate you've been able to deliver that message in Sydney. I think we had an international audience there as well from the UK and the US and the like. It's been a good way to set the scene, I suppose, both in Sydney pre-IAC and link it to the space technologies that Ukraine's been involved with, and then also here now in Western Australia in Perth for this particular audience, which is very cross-sector. You mentioned there's security and space and defence people here, but just generally getting that sense of urgency. And I think the other one is the battle testing aspects of technology. This technology can be, it comes down to the innovation on how fast and how much it costs, but having it battle tested and battle ready is the most important aspect of it. So, Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much. Like I said, we've spent the last couple of weeks in contact between Sydney and Perth. Real pleasure to have you, and thanks for joining us once again on Australia in Space TV.
Yeah.
And enjoy the rest of your practice.
Yeah, thanks for having me.